a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes, where we're changing the world, wait for it, one Om at a time. And here at OMTimes, this is our first show on the first Thursday of the new year. Welcome 2020. May all your visions be 2020 this year. May you see everything clearly and as it really is. And may everybody finally, at last, be able to take a deep breath and recognize the narcissistic con artist we have in the White House. This is my 2020 vision wish. May your 2020 vision erase all the Kool-Aid. May it stop thinking about your 401k, because that's more important than the world you're going to leave your children and grandchildren, or the abuse of humans, or breaking laws. None of it is important if your 401k is up. Because let me guarantee it's going to go down at some point too. And it will go up again and it will go down. Because that's what happens to 401ks. However, the long-term damage of the lack of a 2020 vision to see exactly how much of a con artist and narcissist we have in the White House today could have long-term effects on your children and your grandchildren, who, when they find your Trump stickers, may decide to find the worst nursing home in the world to stick you in and never visit you, to punish you for sticking them with the world that this buffoon is creating. So welcome to 2020 on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have no opinions. As always, our 2020, our first Thursday of the month, we have none other than Matt Connarton on. Matt Connarton is a radio show host himself, extraordinaire, who does a Monday through Friday drive time show at 95.3 WMNH. Sorry, I dropped the M. I wonder what that means. And you can listen to his show 4 to 6. You can actually call into it as well, as you can call into this show. And with that, you could go to ipmnation.com, and that's ipmnation.com, and you can listen to his show as it's happening, even if you do not live in the Manchester, New Hampshire area, which is the physical location of where he is a radio jockey. Matt! Oh, and
yes.
One more thing. Remember, this is a live call-in show, so if you're listening to this at 6 p.m. on a Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then you're listening to The Real Deal, and you can call in at 202-570-7057. And you can share your opinions, ask questions, whatever. We would love to hear from you, as long as you stay respectful. Matt, tell me, how are your holidays? How are the New Year's? How are you doing? Catch me up.
Well, Christmas night, I was in the emergency room.
Oh, how kind. You were visiting people that weren't enjoying Christmas because they were having emergencies?
Nope.
No.
So I've had an ongoing issue for a while that I thought was bronchitis. I found myself on Christmas night not being able to breathe. So I drove to Catholic Medical Center here in Manchester, which is right around the corner from where we live, which is why I chose there. I was having difficulty breathing. Jenny suggested that I let her son drive me over, but I was like, no, it's right around the corner. I can go. I'll be okay. I mean, it's not like I couldn't breathe. It was just my breathing was becoming worse, and it was like, maybe this isn't bronchitis. So I drove. I don't know if you've ever been to CMC here in Manchester, but they have like 4, maybe 5 parking spaces outside the emergency room, and those are always full. So I parked across the street in the parking garage, which was empty. I got a great spot there because it was Christmas night. I began to walk up the hill. There's a small hill. I walk up the hill after I parked the Jeep. I get across the street, and I really just couldn't breathe anymore. And I fell down. Well, I was on one knee on the front lawn of Catholic Medical Center, and I just couldn't go anymore. I was cooked. And someone leaving the ER saw me and said, "Hey, man, want me to get somebody for you?" I said, "Yes, please." And they went and got someone for me, and 3 people came out. They threw me in a wheelchair and got me right in. And turns out it was an asthma attack. And, they did the whole nebulizer treatment and put me on a steroid to help open up my lungs and so forth. And now I feel great. I'm breathing better than I probably have in a decade. But, so that was my Christmas night. I spent 4 hours in the emergency room.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad to hear that you have a resolution which will have a positive effect on a long-term basis. So even though,
Yes.
4 hours for 40 years of good breathing, probably worth it.
Probably.
40 years or more. I don't want to limit.
Yes.
I don't want to limit you dying in your 80s.
I'm going to live forever like the kids from Fame.
Okay. Anything you say,
Well,
I support your reality.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So you're feeling better now? You can breathe now? You can function now?
Oh,
Things
yeah.
are going... Well, that's good. Good. So
Yeah.
how was your New Year's? Huh?
Oh, my New Year's was uneventful, as usual. I prefer it that way. I'm not much of a drinker, so it's not like I'm going to go to a bar and get drunk and, howl at the moon when the ball drops. And I'm not a big New Year's guy anyway. I never have been. To me, it's just, that's another click of the odometer. It's, not a big deal to me. Just marking time, Not to sound like a curmudgeon. I've just never been a big New Year's guy.
Yeah, well, things, different things work for different people. And if how you want to celebrate it is very low key and very, then that's how you celebrate your New Year's. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
So
how about you?
Well, as I was sharing with you before we went on air, we had a murder mystery dinner party here. I had 12 people for dinner. And we played out a murder mystery that happened in the 1920s, and we got to make accusations and hurl clues and drink Prosecco and eat food and generally have a good time. And, 12 people, including the dead body. So he didn't eat much.
Oh, right.
And he didn't get to vote at who his murderer was. We chatted about having a seance, but, then that feels like it's cheating because he was probably new.
Right.
So I think that, but I think it was 5 of the 11 people that got to vote guessed who the murderer was based on the clues, and then the rest of it was scattered. It ended up horrifically being my sister who bludgeoned him to death with a hammer.
Well, that must have been a terrible thing to realize about your sister.
Yeah, it really was. All I can tell you is that, it really made me think twice about those parts of my childhood I don't remember what really did happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
you
may have a repressed memory of her attempting to bludgeon you to death, is what it sounds like you're saying.
Well, actually, I think that it's that she bludgeoned me to death, and I'm just a ghost of myself now.
Wow. Now that's like next level. I wasn't expecting that. I have to be honest.
Hey, So, did you have any New Year's resolutions?
No, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I've always felt that if there is something in your life that, or something about yourself that you feel that you need to change and improve, you should probably get to it rather than choosing an arbitrary date upon which you will act on, well, maybe not so arbitrary if you're deciding it's going to be January 1st, but instead of choosing a date upon which you're going to act to make whatever change it is that you're looking to make, you should probably just go ahead and start now. So I've never been one for New Year's resolutions.
Well, it's very interesting, and I think that this is an interesting topic for the first Thursday in the new year, which is I have, because my birthday's July 4th. Mm-hmm. And so it's not exactly 6 months, but it's pretty close. January 1st, July 4th, give or take a few days. It's 6 months. So to me, twice a year to sit down and put energy, and I tend to do it actually around solstice, so I'm doing it around, more around December 21st, 22nd, to set aside a little time, kind of do a check-in. What would I like to adjust? What am I done with? What did I realize? What were my epiphanies? So I think it's a healthy process. It doesn't have to be done on January 1st.
Right.
But, I think, twice a year. I would even be an advocate for doing it 4 times a year because it's too easy to be barreling ahead and then realize you're halfway down the wrong highway because you never stopped to realize that, the route number changed and you're not headed where you thought you were. Because,
right.
Stuff happens. Oh, am I boring you, Matthew?
No, why?
Oh, okay. I thought I heard you yawn. I thought you were yawning. I was like, oh, my. It's been a
no,
long
you
time
might have heard me breathing.
Okay.
You might have heard me taking a deep breath, though. My lungs are still recovering a bit.
Well, that's good then. I'm glad that you're able to take a deep breath. It's definitely better than no breath at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. And from personal experience because you were having that problem.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I do.
It's very interesting. So I come up with, and I don't call them New Year's resolutions because I'm really against the idea, like you say, of making this great big list. And a lot of times New Year's resolutions are a creation of a way to set yourself up for failure. If I promise to make all of these changes, and then when the first change doesn't happen, or I fall off my diet, or I don't make it to the gym, or I do whatever this, that, or the other thing that falls in the way of the New Year's resolutions, then what happens is I said, oh, to hell with it. And I'll just, and then I return to the way I was. So I always say to people, no more than 1 or 2 things that you would like to change. And then you need to prioritize. And then you need to create a game plan if you're going to change or shift. And what does that look like? And you're going to do a little bit at a time. And you're going to commit to it. And you're going to allow it. And you're going to check in on it. And then I know you're serious. If it's going to be a half-drunken declaration, which as often as not is about other people's unhappiness with you than yourself. Are you really unhappy being a smoker? Or are you unhappy hearing about people yelling at you being a smoker? Which is it? Are you really unhappy with those few extra pounds on your body? Do you really mind that beer belly? Because you didn't mind that 6-pack of beer that you drank every night. So do you really mind that beer belly? Or are you tired of the snide little comments? So when's that baby due, huh? Well, a lot of New Year's resolutions happen because we're trying to shut other people up. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I know.
That's why, as you know, Dr. Kevin, I'm a hypnotherapist, and the single most common thing that I help people with is to quit smoking. And, during the initial conversation with someone, and also too when we're doing our pre-talk during the session, I always make sure that they have reasons. They have their own reasons for wanting to quit, and that it's not simply a matter of wanting to do it for someone else, because, changing for someone else really doesn't work. I mean, it's one thing, if someone says they want to change for someone else in the sense that they want to be there for their kids and they're afraid that, they're not going to be around for their family if they continue to smoke. But if someone says to me, well, I just want to get my wife off my back or my husband off my back about it, or my kids or whatever, I'm just doing this to try to shut them up, then it's, I have to tell them, well, I'm sorry, but that's not going to work, because doing it for someone else just to shut them up about it is not going to work. You have to want to do it for yourself. And I think that applies to any kind of change.
Yep, and I would agree. And I think that if they come to you and they say, I just want to get my spouse off my back, I think that the good and healthy and proper response is, then let me give you the number of a good divorce lawyer. Because that's the way to do it. But, I do like to create a list to focus on, to kind of look at and focus and say, there it is, and then I can kind of check in. And I do think this is a power, as you do. I've heard you say this, power to put things in writing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I sat down, and so this is how I did it. I put it in 3 sections. I call in and embrace. I call in and embrace the abundances of creativity, wealth, financial, opportunities, a deeper, richer marriage, students, clients, and friends, and self-care. So I look at those as abundances, and I'm saying I'm open, and I'm calling them in, and I'm going to embrace bringing those things into my life, which is a mindset. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of saying, is this decision helping me call in and embrace these things? I call in and embrace the realities of a healthy, weight-appropriate body, happy, fully functioning home of grace and ease. And on that, we'll be back for the last thing before we change topics. Call in and tell us what you think about New Year's resolutions and what yours were at 202-570-7057.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from New Thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show. You can participate in tonight's conversation by calling 202-570-7057, or you can come to facebook.com/MyDrKevin. You will find at the top of my Dr. Kevin page, tonight's guest is Matt Connarton from IPMNation.com, and we're talking about what's going on in the world. We would like to have you be part of that conversation if you'd like. We're discussing the futility of New Year's resolutions and how to really make change in your life. And then we'll move on, I'm sure, at some point to politics, as I've already posted a couple of political things to discuss with the ever-political Matt Connarton. Again, you can call in at 202-570-7057 or come to facebook.com/MyDrKevin. And make sure when you're there, you like the page, because I'm a likable guy. So I'm not going to continue. I was almost through my list, Matt, but I'm not going to continue. It is, but you see how I do it. Not, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to, it's like, I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to be a nicer person this year. Did you invent a duct tape for your mouth? Is that how you're going to do it?
Oh, my.
Hey. So, but I do think that setting time aside and checking in is a good thing. So I thought I was going to be late for tonight's show, and you were going to have to open it without me, because I was actually at I'm going to call it a semi-private or whatever, an invitation town hall with my Mayor Pete.
Oh, yes, you love Mayor Pete.
I love Mayor Pete.
I know.
And he's coming. He's going to be in New Hampshire this weekend. He's going to be in Nashua, and he's going to be in Manchester, and he's going to be in Portsmouth. He's also going to be, he's at several places throughout the state for the weekend, as we're getting closer and closer to the February 11th date. So I was invited to go to an organizer's town hall, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make it back to be right on time. So just in case I wasn't, I wanted you there. So before we get into the other politics going on, or the other holidays, let me ask you this question, which is, what's going on your show tomorrow?
Oh, I don't really know. I don't have any particular guests booked tomorrow, so when I don't have anyone booked or don't have anyone specific planned, it usually just ends up being I'm reacting to whatever is in the news that day, or whatever I feel like running my mouth about. Today we had a band on. We didn't do any politics today, but tomorrow it'll probably be political. It'll be my first political Matt Connarton Unleashed of the new year, but I don't know yet.
So, wow. I think it has been way too long since I have made an appearance on the Matt Connarton Show.
It has been a long time, Dr. Kevin. I have to be honest with you. I don't even remember what you look like at this point. It's been so long.
Well, I don't know if this will be helpful at all, but what I looked like the last time you saw me and what I look like now, two totally different things.
Well, that's interesting. Well, you are, I've suspected for a long time, a bit of a shapeshifter.
Yes. I shift my shape all the time. Bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller. It's on the smaller range right now.
Oh, okay. So you've been, what have you been doing to obviously, so you've lost some weight. What's been going on? What have you been doing?
Well, I did a combination of things. So the first 6 months of 2019 was very stressful. My dad died, and I had to relocate my mother semi-unwillingly on her part from Florida to Maine because she really couldn't be left down there by herself, but she didn't really want to come back to the cold weather. But finally, more leveler heads prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
And I got her to move. I think it probably somewhat had something to do with the fact that I flew in. I got to her place, her mobile home, and I packed all of her necessary things in the car, and then I opened the door and kind of put her in and drove her. I think that might have something to do with it. I mean,
so you kidnapped her.
When I left Florida, she's going, I don't know, I don't think I want to go back. I think I just want to stay here. And I said, I know, Mother, we're going home. And then, 2 days later, when I'm pulling into the place that I'd rented her up here in Kittery, Maine, which is an elderly community where she has a little bit of support that she needs and meals 3 times a day and blah, 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 and doing all what I call the good son stuff. I'm pulling in there and she goes, I'm just not really sure that I'm ready to leave. Too late.
Too late.
Too late.
Did she try to grab the steering wheel at all while you were driving to get you to turn around, or?
No.
That's good.
No. There were some trying conversations along the way, but I love my mother dearly, but she really can't drive, and living by herself all alone with no family near and with some onsetting memory issues, I couldn't in good conscience leave her in Florida.
How old is she, if you don't mind my asking?
She turns 84 tomorrow.
Okay.
So she's not old, but her father died with dementia. 2 of her older sisters died in dementia, not knowing anybody.
Wow.
And, she looks like she has bought that ticket.
Really?
She's showing all of that evidence. And so, that train only runs one way on the track.
Yes.
So, again, I have, you have to make those decisions. And sometimes when you reach a point where you really know that your parent or parents are not capable of making them. So the first 6 months was crazy. And it was actually in that first 6 months that I put on the last 25 pounds that I lost because of stress and flying back and forth every month to Florida and not eating right and just not being able to get any rhythm. And then once I got her up here in July, I got serious and I started doing personal training twice a week, going to the gym once or twice a week on top of that. At some point did some keto, did that. So as of my last one in December, my last check-in in December, which was last week, I think we've determined I've lost 57 pounds of fat and I've put on 22 pounds of muscle, something like that.
Really?
Right around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So, yeah. So I look a little different than the last time you saw me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so, if I do a drive-by shooting tomorrow, and I know I'm always welcome, I'm going to want to talk about Mayor Pete because he's going to be in New Hampshire all weekend.
Well, of course. And with your new muscles, I won't be able to say no.
Well, with my old muscles, you wouldn't have been able to say no either because my old muscles were all pre-Raphael fat, and so me landing on you would have been as dangerous as now me like picking you up and throwing you through the window. So it's just one half dozen the other. Before I could just sat on you, yeah, and then we wouldn't have to worry about the asthma.
Right. Yes.
So anyways,
my lungs would be fully collapsed.
Yeah. Yes. I could have fully collapsed your lungs like a rolling pin going over the bread dough. So anyways, tie down.
Yikes.
So, all of that being said, I am going to try to be at your show at some point tomorrow for some part of it to come on and talk about my guy, Mayor Pete.
Well, that's wonderful. All right.
I'm giving you a heads up.
That would be great.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything scheduled that would be better for me to come first hour or second hour. Who knows? I might come for both hours. You know, I've been known to do that before.
Well now.
So catch me up as we're going into 2020. We are less than 2 months. I mean, we're 5 weeks away. We're 4 weeks away from Iowa. We're 5 weeks away. My guy is polling well. You're seeing a lot of things going on, and I want to know what you think of what's going on with some stuff, and I want to share with you a couple of things I found. But my first question is, what is your thoughts on Pelosi holding up the impeachment? Good strategy, bad strategy? Has she gone crazy, or is she crazy like a fox? What do you think?
No, I mean, she knows what she's doing. I'm actually looking at something right now about that. You know, I mean, she might be getting some pleasure out of just kind of slowly twisting that knife. But yeah, there's something on thehill.com about, you know, she's going to be making a decision, likely to make a decision in the coming days about the articles of impeachment. I did a whole segment on my show about how I think this whole thing has gone pretty sideways. I totally get why she didn't want to do this to begin with, and you know, I think it's even more clear now. But you know, I mean, the fix is in. You know, she can withhold the articles. I don't see it changing anything. I mean, I think she's trying to get, you know, Mitch McConnell to capitulate a little bit on what he has said and maybe actually have a fair trial in the Senate, but I don't think it's going to happen. Everyone knows, you know, the fix is in. You know, the Senate's going to vote to acquit. McConnell said flat out he's working in full coordination with the White House. You know, I don't see this helping the Democrats in the end, and I see why she was so resistant to do it. But no, I don't think she's crazy. I think she knows very much what she's doing. You know, but if she's waiting, I mean, if she's holding up the articles because she's waiting for some sort of reassurance, public reassurance from McConnell that there's going to be a fair trial in the Senate, I mean, that's simply not going to happen. You know, like I said, he said they're working in coordination with the White House. They'll ensure a quick acquittal, and that'll be it. And that's what the base wants anyway, of the Republican Party, at least. I mean, that, you know, it's Trump's party now, and that's what they want. McConnell will do exactly what the base of the Republican Party, who are in allegiance to Trump, that's what they want. You know, they want their guy to be acquitted quickly, and then you know, and then move on. So,
do you think with some of the information and stuff that has come out recently, that seems to keep on pouring out, that she's going to add anything to that? Or because there has been some reference to the idea that it may not be complete because new information, the new emails came out. Now the timeline clearly states that Trump knew before the phone call and was inquiring about holding it up and was even warned of what was going to happen, blah, 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 blah. I know where you stand on the, it ain't going to make any difference in the Senate because the Senate is bought and sold majority Republican. So a couple of senators are making noise, like Lisa from Alaska is making noise that she's not very happy about McConnell's comments and that they are disturbing to her. You might find Susan Collins waffling a little bit because she's in a very vulnerable seat, and if she looks like this was just a pat down job of rubber stamping his acquittal, that could negatively impact her getting reelected. So there might be, there's not going to be enough to jump ship to change it, but there might be a few that decide that they strategically have to jump ship. But do you think she'll add anything? She's made the noise.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good possibility. That things will be added, but it won't make any difference ultimately. As far as Murkowski and Collins, I have to wonder, are they genuinely bothered by anything here, or are they sort of playing their part? And what I mean by that is, I can certainly imagine them coordinating secretly with McConnell, whereas McConnell says, okay, I need the two of you to act like you have misgivings about, how we're going to proceed here, and how I need the two of you to publicly question my handling of this. So, because McConnell is very, very smart. Pelosi's smart, but so is McConnell. Is he telling them, look, I need you to we need some dissent here. There has to be some dissent, because that public dissent sort of is a fig leaf to offer the impression that maybe not all Republicans in the Senate are going to just walk in lockstep to ensure a quick acquittal for the president. You know what I mean? So in order to present the veneer that, maybe there are some voices in the Republican Senate who are not totally on board with just blindly acquitting the president, I need the two of you, because the two of you are the most likely to do this anyway, to go out and make a little noise about how maybe you're not totally on board with what I'm saying I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I can imagine McConnell coordinating with them in that way. So I don't know if they're acting in good faith or if they're sort of playing their part and being that fig leaf that the Senate Republicans need, But I don't know. Who knows? It's a theory.
I think it's a good theory. I think it's an interesting. It could be getting coordinated that way. But as you said, McConnell might have picked them because he knew that they were in a position where they might have to come out and have some kind of, response, or they could be risking their reelection.
Because the thing is, if McConnell's concerned about appeasing the base, which obviously is enormously pro-Trump, he can, he doesn't look bad to them necessarily if at some point he looks like he's maybe giving in a little bit to Murkowski and Collins and maybe even Mitt Romney if Mittens decides to find some courage and speak up. If he looks like he's having to acquiesce to them a little bit, then he can still say to the base, look, I'm trying to protect the president, but, I've got certain people in my own party who are giving me a hard time, so I kind of have to appease them a little bit. So he still looks like, the Trump apologist that the base expects him to be, I mean, it makes sense.
Well, when we get back, we're going to talk about the love affair between evangelicals, or I like to call them evangelicals, that love Trump. And we're also going to be talking about the response website from the snowflakes.
Ooh.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
911, what is your emergency?
My kid shot himself.
All right, where's the wounds?
911, what's your emergency?
Please help. My son shot his brother.
911, what is your emergency? Okay.
911, please state your emergency.
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns.
It wasn't locked.
Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTimes. I'm here as I am the first Thursday of every month, whether it's the first Thursday of the year or just the first Thursday of the month, with Matt Connarton, who you know Matt from his world-famous drive time show from 4 to 6 p.m. out of Manchester, New Hampshire, WMNH 95.3, that you can listen to on IPMNation.com. And you can call into his radio show from 4 to 6 before you call into my radio show, 6 to 7 every Thursday night Eastern Standard Time at 6 p.m. You can call into my show at 202-570-7057, or you can go to facebook.com/MyDrKevin, MyDrKevin. When you're there, make sure you like the page. I'm a likable guy. And you'll also see how to contact Matt as we were discussing some of the things going on in the world today, from New Year's resolutions to there is no solution for our problem in the White House. Of course, except putting him out. So before I go into the two things that I was going to chat with you about and get your feedback, I wanted to know if you had anything that came up that you thought was particularly interesting or was particularly telling, or that you think people are missing that's going on in our political scene in the last month. What have the topics of your shows been?
Well, I mean, a lot about impeachment, obviously. And we did talk about, you had mentioned it as we were going to break. There was a big topic on my show, the evangelicals and the recent editorial in Christianity Today, where they called out Trump and called out evangelicals for continuing to support him despite his, what was the term they used? Something amorality or immorality. But, we talked about that a lot on my show. It's kind of low-hanging fruit, but it's a very easy thing to pick on and mock these people over the way evangelicals just love Trump. Of course, my theory. I've said it to you before about part of why the appeal is so strong there is because Christian evangelicals are used to turning on their televisions on a Sunday morning and seeing a con man in a $10,000 suit asking them to give them his money and their trust. So Trump is perfectly suited for that. But that's, we've spent a lot of time on that subject on my show, and we tried to have some non-political shows recently too, just during the holidays. But obviously, impeachment dominates more than anything else.
Well, and speaking of that, I want to remind my listeners that we have changed some of the format of the Dr. Kevin Show in 2020. We will continue to have Matt on as long as he is willing to come on the first Thursday of every month. The second Thursday of every month, we are going to have Lori Powers Auto as our regular co-host for the second Thursday of the month, and we are going to be sharing inspirational and motivational stories about good news, good things going on in the world, things that we will post on our timeline on the Facebook that we will share with you to help to bring hope and inspire and motivate. So, the first Thursday of the month, we'll have Matt bringing you into the depths of the despair with his Trump predictions. Then Lori and I will lift you up the second Thursday of the month. The third Thursday of the month will be our guest spot for the month. The third and the fifth Thursdays for the month that have third and fifth Thursdays. And the fourth Thursday of the month, we are reintroducing planetary influences, and we have just brought on astrologer Rob Stewart to talk to you about what is the astrology for the upcoming month. Remember, astrology, tarot, psychics, doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs don't give your power away to anyone. But always look at it that there are ways to get more information with which to make better decisions. And if you know that there's a certain astrological energy going on, then sometimes you may decide to push forward or hold back on something for better timing, or you may decide that it is giving you some kind of guidance that helps you make a better decision. So we are going to be doing that lineup for 2020. So you're going to planetary influences on the fourth or last Thursday of the month, a guest every third Thursday, motivational and inspirational stories with Lori Powers Auto and I, and the first Thursday of the month, we're going to roll around in the pigsty of politics.
Very nice.
Hey, well, there was an interesting article. You may or may not have seen it. It was one surprising reasons why evangelicals are so devoted to Trump. And, and first of all, I did not initially think of this when I read the article. It made sense as soon as they said it, but you have to clarify. It is white evangelicals, because you have evangelicals that are people of color, but he only runs 7 to 9% with them.
Right.
Were you aware of that?
I was not.
Yeah. The numbers of actual non-white evangelicals, which is, the number of evangelicals is, more white than anything else. But he's not popular he's not nearly as popular. He's not popular with the non-white evangelicals. And I was looking because I just had the percentage. And again, if you go to facebook.com/MyDrKevin, I've posted these things so you can look at these stories and you can choose to read them, think about them, share them, do whatever you want. But his numbers are much lower there. But they said that the one defining issue more than anything else, because they did a poll, they did this poll of like issues and stuff like this, and the poll had 60,000 participants. So in polls, that's not a small number. I mean, that's a big scoop.
Yeah.
And it was on the site Religion in Public. And it was Cooperative Congressional Election Study. And one of the things they found was that white evangelicals rated one of their biggest concerns, not abortion, immigration. They were by far the most conservative on immigration. They found that Republican white evangelical Protestants were 75% more likely than all Republicans to assert that immigrants are invading American society.
Okay. Yeah.
And that 68% of white evangelicals think America is not obligated to resettle refugees. That's 25% higher than the national average. So, and it's interesting because this article was written by somebody who started pushing around because my guy, Mayor Pete, had on Christmas Day put out, he tweeted that Jesus Christ came into this world not as a citizen but as a refugee. And in a response, a religious right blogger, Matt Walsh, tweeted that Joseph and Mary went to their ancestral home in Bethlehem for a census. In no sense did Jesus come into this world as a refugee. And he saw that, and it made him start to poke around at some of that stuff, and he put this whole article together. It is on there if you want to grab it, Matt, and look at it, but I thought that was very interesting. And doesn't that just make sense?
Yeah. Well, of course, there's ignorance on top of ignorance. These same people, they should love, and of course they don't, but they should love Barack Obama, because Barack Obama, the president who was often derisively referred to by immigration activists as deporter in chief. The Obama administration was very aggressive with deportations. So you would think these white evangelicals who are so freaked out about the brown people coming into the country, they should love Barack Obama, but they don't. I'm not sure why. It's almost as though, I've wondered about this. It's almost as though there's something about Barack Obama that they just couldn't quite grow to like. Something about him that was a little bit different than previous presidents that freaked these people out. I can't quite put my finger on it, or I feel like it's as plain as the nose on my face, or maybe as plain as the color of the skin of the nose on my face. But I something about Barack Obama that just seems to really bother these white Christian evangelicals. So they could never fully appreciate him, even though they might have agreed with him on some of his immigration policy. I don't know what it is, but who knows, right?
Let's face it. All he really was John F. Kennedy with the tan, right? And they didn't like JFK either. I don't know why. He had the papal blessing for his presidency, so I don't know why they didn't like him. But
yeah, who knows? Who knows?
So, the Trump campaign launched a website aimed at equipping its supporters with arguments. So let me put this out here. The Yale College Democrats have unveiled a website called snowflakesfightback.com. And it has to do with his derogatory comment about them being snowflakes. And so they have created this website, and it is chock full of rebuttals to equip our fellow snowflakes to respond intelligently and accurately when discussing politics with Trump-supporting friends and family.
I love it.
So the original snowflakes themselves are responding because the Trump campaign launched a website aimed at equipping its supporters with arguments to win debates against liberal snowflakes they encountered during the holidays. That was the quote. So the Yale College Democrats created this one. I love it. Again, that's snowflakesfightback.com for people that are interested. Snowflakesfightback.com. And it has a picture at the top of it of Nancy Pelosi doing that clap that she did behind Trump at his inaugural thing last year. At his State of the Union.
State of the Union, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm keeping that website bookmarked along with factcheck.org, though I have to say I'm going to take a different approach in 2020 about some of the stuff I do on my Facebook page because it's exhausting. I need to hire 3 full-time people just to print the facts against all of the crap that's being put out by the Trump bots that get picked up by people that are just saying outrageous things. Like there were 10,000 murders done by immigrants. There wasn't even 10,000 murders done in that time period they quoted. Like,
right.
Literally.
Oh, I know. I mean,
they're putting out these, and they're making these things up, and they're putting these memes out. And some of these are people that I actually like, and I thought I respected, and I called some of them out on it. I said, fact check. This is wrong. Here is the truth. The numbers don't add up. You're just inciting violence against this group. You know, you're a better person than this. So I'm holding on to Snowflake's Fight Back. Matt!
There you go. Yes. So I'll see you
on tomorrow. I'm planning on it.
Wonderful.
So I will let you know if I can't make it, because you know the way my life runs. But I'm going to do my best.
I do. All right. Excellent.
I will talk to you tomorrow. And for my listeners, you'll hear Matt and I talk about it on the first Thursday, which will be just before the New Hampshire primary. Oh, my.
Yes.
That will be a good show.
Yes.
Have a good week.